You know what's nice about this platform is that you can not do anything that you want to do, but you can make videos that are, appropriate for the internet to be largely consumed, nothing inappropriate, of course. And that's it. I mean, the rules are the rules. Of course, no copyright, blah, 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 blah. But as long as you're the original content creator, then, you have a lot of flexibility. Now, will it become the most super popular thing? Are you doing this exclusively to make as much money as possible? Are you hoping to become a full-time YouTuber? And at the tender age of 34, for me, that's not going to happen. However, I talk about this stuff all the time with friends. So friends and family. So I might as well record some of the stuff that I enjoy talking about. And in the event that other people also agree with what I'm saying or disagree, leave a comment, subscribe, like, whatever. It's all fine and dandy. And the reason I'm even starting this particular video like this is because I got my first copyright strike about 2 months ago now, maybe 3 months ago. And I did use somebody else's content, not to the extent of, I was trying to make it seem like it was my own content. It was more so of, I was giving my opinion on somebody else's video. Cool. And this particular individual had a mid-video ad that I guess he wrote. And I just left the whole thing in there because, I was just talking over, doing my, voiceover type deal. And when I got the copyright strike, the section that the original content creator was claiming that I stole, essentially, was that mid-credit ad. So not the entire video, which was his video, and then I put my comments on top of it. And then, he would talk, then I would respond. He would talk, I would respond. But it was literally like a minute and a half during, of the course of my entire video that I have now created that he says, these, this minute and a half or 2 minutes is where my copyright strike claim is coming from. So I said, that's interesting. So, needless to say, I think I might have done one, maybe two more videos of that particular type. And I get it. I was frustrated and bothered before, but at the end of the day, it was one video. YouTube allows you to attend copyright school or whatever it is. It literally was about a 3 to 5 minute video. I think I had to answer 4 questions when I finished watching the video. And then that was it. And I think that copyright strike stays active on your account for 4 or so months. I mean, I forget exactly when I got it, but I don't think it actually expires until October of 2022, and it's currently September. So not a big deal. But what that got me thinking about, and I was talking to my roommate about some stuff, and of course the Apple event was just 2 days ago, and my roommate actually is in the process of selling her Apple Watch. I recently sold one of mine, gave another one of mine away, but Apple is now, they've announced and are about to release new Apple Watches. So I figured, hey, even I got that copyright strike on a video about Apple Watches. I just sold / gave away one or really 2 of mine. My roommate is in the process of selling hers. Apple just announced 2 more. Let me make a video on this particular Apple Watch before it departs. Now, this is the Apple Watch Series 7. Okay, so the 8 are the ones that are announced and will be available for purchase sometime soon. The real YouTubers have already gone and made their own videos. So if you want something that's better than this, by all means, navigate somewhere else. This is me just talking about some stuff that I don't even want. So here, what we have, and just imagine, the whole unboxing experience. I really don't particularly care to watch those type of videos, so therefore I really don't want to make one. But everything comes in this little box, okay? And then you get these 2 little guys on the inside of that box. All right. Now, this right here is where the watch is, some documentation, as well as now it's I don't want to call it MagSafe because it's not, but the wireless charger. I mean, there's a wire here, so you can't call that. So the magnetic charger now terminates with a USB-C connector, which is good. You got the actual watch right here, which slides out of its little protective housing, which is a nice feature. It's a nice little add-on, so you can't be mad at them about that. Ugh. Okay, try to be delicate because again, I'm about to put this on eBay, so I don't want to cause too much damage. And honestly, and this really right here for you, if you've made it to 5 minutes into this video, is your deciding factor. I'm not even going to turn this thing on. All right. Again, if you want a more in-depth review of something, by all means, go somewhere else. This is just for me. I'm going to talk about this for a little bit, give my thoughts and opinions on it, show you what the unboxing experience is like. And then here you have your wristbands. So if I could slide these out just to show you what it looks like. And yeah, this whole thing just kind of slides out like that. All right. And yeah, you got your 2 wristbands, or it's really 1, but 2 different sizes. So your small/medium and your medium/large, and then the other band with a little clip. And that's where I'm going to stop. All right. I'll pack all these things back up in a little bit so I can sell them. And that's it. Now, my thoughts, particularly on any of the Apple Watches, are, excuse me, they are a nice device. Okay, I'm not going to pretend that they aren't. By 2022 standards, they aren't super expensive. I mean, yes, it's a watch, but in addition to that, you know, it's a smartwatch. It's a fitness tracker. It allows you to do mobile payments. You can answer phone calls on it, reply to messages. It does a lot of stuff. Okay, it's a nice companion device for the Apple Watch, and right there, I'd say that's probably one of the biggest limiting factors, is that it only works with the Apple Watch. So if you are an Android user, you're out of luck. Yeah, I mean, I know there are probably some ways around it, and shoot, what that company called Beeper, I think, was trying to, or has actually found a way to essentially allow Android users, or let's just say non-Apple users, to gain access to iMessage. But it involves you giving them your Apple ID credentials, which at that point, I just rather keep an iPhone in my pocket. You know, I don't want to give that information to another company. And heck, my brother was trying to watch something on Apple TV Plus, and he was like, "Oh, well, since you have Apple TV Plus, can I just have your Apple ID login?" And I was like, no. Like, this isn't the same thing as Netflix password sharing, or really password sharing to any other streaming device. Even though Apple TV is a streaming service, your Apple ID is associated with a lot more stuff. And even though I love my brother and I trust him, I still just, no, like, it's $5 a month. You can go subscribe for $5 a month. Like, I know I have your Netflix login, but if it were connected to other aspects of your life, I'd be like, nope, don't even want it. Don't tell me what it is. And in fact, in the past, I have said, nope, don't even want it. I don't want to know those credentials. And at some point, I ended up getting them, and I watch from time to time. But yeah, the way Apple works, you know, everything's so tightly integrated that it's like, yeah, this, you know, you log in here, now you might start seeing my iMessages, or, you know, FaceTime calls, missed calls, whatever, and anything else that could potentially be exposed with somebody else having your Apple ID login credentials. So I didn't give it to him, and yeah, I would not give my stuff to Beeper. I think that's the name of the company. So I'm currently on Apple's website right now, and I have, you know, it's pretty convenient to, you know, have everything down here, but then there's a monitor right there that you can't see. My laptop set up right next to me, as you can see. So yeah, it's nice to be able to have something to reference. And of course, you know, had I done this 3 days ago, the Apple Watch Series 7 would have been the ones up here at the top that I could click on. But now, you know, it's gone. We have the Series 8, the SE, the Ultra, and the new Apple Watch Hermes, that fancy one. But what I'll do is I'll click on the compare, and my AC just kicked on. So when that happens, sometimes Wi-Fi gets a little testy. But look, okay, it loaded. And of course, you go to compare, and what you can compare right now are the 3 models that they have for sale. So normally on sites, you click compare, then it's, oh, you know, what are my options? And even with the iPhone, and I think with the iPad, you go to those particular portions of Apple's website and you click on compare, and then you have the drop downs. So you're able to immediately see, okay, what are the differences between these particular models, even ones that are no longer sold. But here, yes, they just have the ones that you can currently buy, and I don't really care about any of those because I already made my comments on those earlier. But if you click on the compare all, I don't like that at this point. like, well, it's a static page that loads on top of the other one. And I don't like that you can't do a side-by-side comparison of the specific ones you want to look at. So right now, after I've gone to this next page, I have a side-by-side comparison of the Apple Watch Ultra, the Series 8, and the SE. So pretty much the exact same thing that was on the previous page, which I don't want to compare those. I'd kind of want to compare the Series 7 to the Series 8, but you have to do this diagonal little dance to go back up and forth. In fact, let me put my glasses back on. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pause this. So what I decided to do is take some screenshots of the different parts of Apple's website. You know what? Plenty of people, I don't know why I didn't think about that before. Yep, this is all a learning process. So I have the Apple Watch Series 8 next to the new SE, next to the Apple Watch Series 7. So yeah, at this point, yeah, it's easier to be able to see, well, what are these differences? So I really don't really care too much about the SE. It's there, and maybe I'll speak on it. But going from last year's watch to this year's watch, let's see what the differences are. And I feel like by design, Apple doesn't have the drop downs on these particular devices the same way they have the drop downs on the iPhone or the iPads. So looking at it, the watches are the same size, 41 millimeters or 45 millimeters. They both have the always-on LTPO OLED display that goes up to 1,000 nits. The Ion X Glass display on aluminum cases, or a sapphire crystal display on stainless steel cases. And it looks like, okay, so here's the difference. The Series 7 gave you the option to have a titanium case, but you can't get that with the Series 8. However, if I can go back over to this other page right here. It looks like the Apple Watch Ultra does have a titanium case. I'm looking on, it's there. I don't know where it is, but I'm 99% sure that they said the Apple Watch Ultra was a titanium case. So, yeah, pretty sure. Okay, I don't see it. But anyway, so that looks like that's a difference. And it wouldn't surprise me if they did that. They said, okay, well, we gave that option for the Series 7. I don't know how popular it was. But for those people who did want it, let's not give it to them in the Series 8. But if they do want it enough, and they are that type of person that would truly benefit from that, then we'll put it in the Apple Watch Ultra, which then, of course, for that small group of people, they'll have a really, really strong lightweight metal. And it's something, that is now exclusive to that particular model. So that's that. And then we have, of course, GPS and cellular options. This is one of those things where I don't recall them doing it, but being able to draw like a true performance comparison between their system in a package as opposed to system on a chip. I still don't know the difference between a SIP versus an SoC. And now I'll Google that at some point. But digital crown with haptic feedback. The Series 8 now has a temperature sensor, but they both have the blood oxygen sensors, the electrical heart sensors, the third generation optical heart sensor. Whereas the SE has the second generation, I believe. So that's just it does. So that's just another thing in the event that you're considering that SE. High heart rate, low rate notifications, irregular heart rhythm notifications, the ECG app, international emergency calling, emergency SOS. Fall detection is on both of them. And then it says crash detection on the Series 8. And I don't know if that's a hardware limited thing or if that's software that's going to be pushed back. And I think that all supported Apple Watches are going to get crash detection. So good on that. Water resistance up to 50 meters, dust resistance, Bluetooth 5.0, GPS, GNSS, compass, always on altimeter, built-in speaker mic, 32 gig capacity, and fast charge time. Now, I'm not going to speak much about the SE. All I will say is that too does have the S8 system in what used to choose the SoC system in package. So the Series 8 and the SE both have that S8 system in package. So if you're worried about performance, which I don't really think you should be with any of these modern Apple Watches, then you shouldn't be, even if you're getting the SE. Now, when it comes to just going back to talking about the 7 and the 8, just, year over year performance increase, then, or I say year over year change, there's really not much. Is it worth spending $400 on this particular watch this year when maybe you could get last year's model for a little bit cheaper? I do find it interesting. I really would like to talk to them if I could. Like, why do you sell last year's Apple, last year's iPhone, and even in fact 2 years ago? Because the iPhone 12 was still available, but you don't sell last year's Apple Watch. And I get you have the SE this year, but you don't release an SE every year. So in terms of cost analysis for those watches that have already been manufactured, and I know they do the just-in-time manufacturing and stuff like that, so everything isn't readily available, but there are still a bunch of Series 7s sitting in a warehouse somewhere that are available for sale. Like how many, I don't know, but yeah, what happens to these other watches, and yeah, why not just lower? Well, the obvious answer is they don't want to cannibalize any of the sales for this particular model. But yeah, and I feel myself just kind of rambling. Like there are other videos where I'm super excited and I feel like I could talk for hours. But with these Apple Watches, man, like the reason I didn't even turn this on is because if you've seen an Apple Watch turned on, then you've seen all Apple Watches. Like there's nothing exciting about it. Not that that's a bad thing, but it really is just another Apple Watch. So yeah, if you want a more in-depth, super action-packed, people walking around with the Apple Watches on their wrist and, these perfect candid shots of everything happening, yeah, go find somebody else. At some point, maybe I'll get there, but I'm recording this on my Galaxy S22, which I can't even sell this thing on eBay. Like it's been on eBay for about a month and a half now, and just nobody wants it. So yeah, not that. But I got rid of my Apple Watches because I found, well, one, I wanted to get rid of my iPhone. And long story short, that is not going to happen anytime soon unless, I don't know, Apple makes an iMessage app for Android or they adopt RCS. So since neither of those are going to happen, yeah, I'm going to keep my iPhone. I got rid of my Apple Watches before I made up my mind about keeping the iPhone. So that's that. But it's a nice watch. I don't really need any of the fitness stuff. I mean, the reason I had two was I had one Apple Watch that I used as a companion device for my phone. And then I had another one that I used for fitness purposes. Even though I know they both could do the same thing, I just didn't like having something that I got super sweaty and always just on me. So I had two separate watches. One was a gift. The other one I bought on eBay for free. One was a Series 5. The other was a Series 6. So definitely didn't drop a bunch of money on them and to turn around and get rid of them, or to have to do two separate jobs when one could have done both. But what I did not and do not like about the Apple Watch is the fact that it is exclusive to one particular device, the iPhone. And I don't know, I just felt like it was too much for me, Like, yes, it is a nice product, but it was too much. And I think I just lost interest in it. And when I was watching the keynote yesterday or 2 days ago, and they were talking about the watches, man, like I felt my stuff starting to doze off. Like if you watched it, the music before the keynote or the event started, I mean, I was really good. I had my headphones on, everything was jamming. And then they started talking about the watches, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. And then slowly I was like, all right, what else do you got? And of course, they went on there from there to some AirPods, which I also didn't care about, and then to the Apple Watches. But yeah, like I really felt like I'm looking at the clock right now. It's been 19 and a half minutes, and yeah, like I'm not excited about this. So if you want an Apple Watch, by all means get one. They are good products. They are not for me. They are not for Android users. But I will say other smartwatches exist. I went from using my Apple Watch to using a Fitbit. Full transparency, full disclosure, you do not get the same functionality with any smartwatch that is not an Apple Watch when you have an iPhone. So like replying to messages and stuff, can't do. I mean, so just imagine it like this, where you have your phone, of course, information goes in and out of your phone. You have an Apple Watch, information can also go in and out of the Apple Watch. But when I connect my Fitbit to my phone, for the most part, it's just a receiver. So let's say I get a text message. All right, I can read the text message on my Fitbit, but I can't reply to it. I can see that somebody's calling me, but I can't answer my phone. Well, I can answer the phone, but I can't talk on the phone through the Fitbit. I think some of the new ones do allow that. One thing I like with with the eBay app is you can get the notification that either have a message or whatever, or that an auction is about to end in 15 minutes. And with the Apple Watch, I could tell the watch / the app to remind me again about the end of the auction 1 or 2 minutes before it was actually ended, because you first get that notification 15 minutes before it ends. But 15 minutes is, relatively a long time to just be staring at your screen waiting for something to count down. So yeah, to get that notification 1 or 2 minutes before it actually ends, to say, okay, cool, now let me give it my undivided attention. That was nice. I really like that. With the Fitbit, can't do that. I get the notification saying it ends, and then I pull out my phone and say, all right, well, I'm either going to stare at my phone for the next 15 minutes, or I'm going to make sure that I'm not distracted for the next 15 minutes. One thing, I really did like this about the watch. When using Apple Maps to navigate on the phone, whenever I got any type of prompt, so the directions telling to turn left, right, or there's, an obstruction ahead, or I don't know, not every time I spoke, but frequently when it was about to tell you to do something, there'd be some nice haptic feedback on your wrist. I mean, not that I'm not listening to the phone telling me what to do. Not that I can't see it, because I do have, the phone in an area that is up and visible. But yeah, it was just nice. And I remember the first time it happened, I was like, oh, what is that? And I said, oh man, this is nice. Like it's, vibrating on my wrist while I'm driving. So yeah, that's a nice feature. But I feel the same way about the Apple Watch as I do with, I just got a package delivered. Hold on 1 second. Be right back. All right, so I just actually took delivery of my Pixel 6. And I know I'm a year late. I'm late with everything, but yeah, this video will get posted, and that Pixel 6 video that I'll make will get posted. And I know I'm comparing technologies that are, over a year old, but whatever. So I'm gonna wrap this up in the next, minute and a half. If you want an Apple Watch, get one. Would I get the latest one? Absolutely not. For $400, it is not a bad deal, but for essentially however much you can find a used one of a previous model, or even a new one just at a reduced price, you'll get the same experience. Now, I wouldn't suggest getting anything older than a Series 5. I mean, that's what I had, and for me, it worked fine. I would not, definitely wouldn't get a Series 3, wouldn't get the first SE. I feel like the Series 4 it exists, obviously, but maybe I haven't paid much attention to it, but I feel like, the 3 was on Apple's website for a while. The SE was there. And for some reason, I feel like I heard a lot about the Series 5 as well. But then, I had a Series 6. My roommate has a Series 7. The Series 8 is now available. And the reason that, like right now, I'm looking at all my phones in my room. So I'm recording, and let's count. Recording with my Galaxy S22. I'm looking at a Sony Xperia Mark III. So Sony Xperia 5 Mark III. I had the Asus Zenfone 9, which I will make a video for that. Then I just got the Pixel 6. I have a Pixel 2 that I use just as a gym phone. And then I have one iPhone. Okay. And you might say, well, that means that the iPhone does everything that all those Android devices can do. And that couldn't be further from the truth. But the reason that I bring that up is just, I have one iPhone because it does a job. And it does that job well, which is iMessage. Yeah, it makes phone calls, but so do all the other phones. But yeah, iMessage works well. Okay. So if you want an Apple Watch, know that it will do the job well. And I think that's the best way that I can put it. You don't need the latest one to do it. I'm not getting an iPhone 14. At least I don't plan on it. I might get a 13 mini, but I'm still thinking like, well, why? It's the exact same thing that I currently have. And yeah, it'll be supported for a year longer, however you truly want to think about it. But but yeah, there's really no reason to upgrade it or to have multiple devices. And I know earlier I said I had 2 Apple Watches, and that was not because the watch itself did anything different. It was just I didn't want to sweat all over it, and then also wear that other places. So yeah, if you want it, get it. I would recommend you look at something used from a previous generation, or heck, I mean, if you wait a month or two, there'll be some used Series 8s out in the wild. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and close this back up so that way I can put everything back in the box. And yeah, this was the Apple Watch Series 7, but the Series 8 is now available. So check any of them out. And I will say, I don't think you'd be disappointed. But for $400, I don't know if I would feel satisfied. So check out something new or used, preferably used.